So from here, I can really see the different pattern that's created by the sun. It's like a graphic abstract painting. I think that's really great. See how the lettering, the typography works with the light. And I bet you every time I come back here today, it will be a totally different pattern. A lot of the time, I like to introduce an element to kind of give a sense of scale to this pattern. And not only that, it gives a sense of story, a sense of that human element is always an element that I go to give that mood, that sense of emotion to the image. I'm going to introduce that element into this pattern and see how it works with my photograph. So lucky enough, I have the Skillshare crew here who's going to help me as a stand-in as a model. And I think anybody can be the model. It could be your friend, it could be yourself if you have a self-timer. But I think it just gives that human element that could really activate the image and make it come alive. So I'm gonna have Aubriana kind of walk through the image and maybe like high speed so that like she looks like she's zooming through, that give a sense of excitement. Yeah. I like in this image, the human body really gives a sense of scale to the graphic line. Like without the body, you may not know how large or how small it is. And that could actually be an advantage. Maybe you don't want to use the body because you may want to make these lines seem extremely huge. The body may actually distract or give too much information. But in this case, I wanted to have that body to give a sense of scale to the image. So let's go back to the building we saw earlier and see what images we can take over there. Here we are back at the spot where we scouted earlier, and I think this would be a great photo. I really like this angle because it's really dynamic of these diagonal line. I think diagonal line always make your image feels a lot more exciting and alive. So I feel like this strong diagonal is going to really make the image more impactful. Especially, I'm going to introduce the model walking through the space to give the sense of scale. Also, just to give it a sense of story. This feels like it could be a train station or it's like a scene of a movie. I mean, you can play all the scenarios in your head, create a storyline. And so I think this character could be like something that you could add to make the image more exciting. I'm using a zoom lens here, a 24-70, that allows me to take in quite a large image. However, I'm going to bring it a little closer, just make this dynamic diagonal shape as the main element in the photo. And I'm going to have the model walk through this element there. Yeah, I think that's cool. I'm just gonna have her stand there just to give a more moody feel. And I feel like sometimes when the subject is just standing there and having this kind of tranquil moment, it gives a really nice, calm mood to the image. Really nice. I'm also gonna capture the image without the model. One of the things that I think that makes for a very interesting image is you don't have to always have the focus of the frame in the center of the image. You can shift the focus to the side and use more negative space, for example, this. So instead of focusing on the object or the building itself, you can focus on the connection, like how the different materials meet, how the edges of the building meet something else. It could be the building meets the sky, the building meets the ground, but that connection is a really interesting thing to focus on, and instead of the object itself. So I think I got some really interesting shots here. So let's see what we can find at another location. I immediately saw this very strong diagonal line in the building. And it reminds me of this famous photograph by Fan Ho, this photographer from Hong Kong. He had this amazing image from the 50s that has this very strong dynamic diagonal line. And I feel it captures the idea that this ephemeral shadow is almost like a physical architectural feature. That's really a great thing to think about. Even though they're just ephemeral and changing all the time, you can treat it as a physical feature and play with it. I'm going to have our models do a very strong walk toward the shadow side. Yeah, I like that. And I'm going to have her come back again and interact with the line as if it's like so I'm going to have her kind of like maybe doing some sort of things like this, like lean, touch, just like doing fun things, but try to create a moment. That's how you sort of interact with a shadow element and create something interesting. So her body becomes this kind of punctuation against this line. It's almost like modern art, how you have this line, this really strong body shape. You can also lean your head to one side, kind of like Yeah, just like really, really dreamy, and then maybe drop one elbow further. Yeah, create a beautiful shape, and just kind of direct your model to kind of create something different, something iconic. Yeah, that's great. All right, I think I got it. When I'm traveling, I don't have a ton of time at a location, so obviously I have to be prudent about my time and just focus on the angles that I really, really want to capture. I don't take a ton of images either. As you can see, I only shoot a few images, and I don't just kind of spray and pray as some people use it. And just really pay attention to my composition and really take a moment and compose and slow down, and so you can get that image in fewer shots. So obviously I can shoot here all day long. There was so many great angles to capture. However, I think we're gonna head to the beach and see what kind of images we can capture there using the same principles.